On today's video, I'm going to be doing a little bit of a second trimester recap. I'm currently 30 weeks pregnant today, so I've been out of the second trimester now for 2 weeks, and it's flying by. And I could say that 1,000,000,000 times, but it's truly flying by. And now that I'm in the third trimester, I know it's gonna be here so soon, and the second trimester already feels like it was so far away. Do a little bit of a rapid fire Q&A style second trimester recap. What is the weirdest craving I had this trimester? Honestly, I've never really had any weird cravings necessarily with any of my 3 pregnancies. I guess maybe I've been kind of hyperfixated on this scrambled egg bowl, and what I do for that is I put rice, onions, eggs, all mixed up and obviously cooked. The onions have to be cooked and sauteed with the egg, and then I mix it with rice. And then I have that with a bunch of lime juice, hot sauce, and Greek yogurt. Of course, there's Cold Stone and ice cream and stuff like that. I really, really, really love the kind frozen bars. Oh yeah, turkey sandwiches were definitely my hyperfixation craving in the second trimester too. There was a few weeks where I would have one every single day, sometimes multiple times a day. Oh, and also coffee. The second question is, did your sex drive go up or down? Be honest. So I think sometimes we kind of shy away from the topic of sex, to be honest, and I get that. I get why we would, but I believe that it's something that God gave us that is beautiful, and it should be done between a husband and wife, and I truly believe that. With this pregnancy, I'm very, very, very lucky because it hasn't really changed this far being pregnant. And of course, it gets more uncomfortable as the bigger that your stomach grows and stuff like that. But truly, I've been really blessed this time to not have such a big of a difference. Maybe it's because my body is already used to, getting pregnant. And whereas with the first 2 pregnancies, it was kind of a shock to the system for my body. So I think with the third pregnancy, it has been overall a lot better and definitely comparable to before pregnancy. Third question is, were there any new symptoms that totally surprised you? Let me tell you, absolutely 100%. This third pregnancy has just kind of thrown me in for the loop here, okay? I've just definitely felt round ligament pain super early on, which I never ever had it with my first 2 pregnancies. Say around 16 to 20-ish weeks, that's when I started getting really sharp shooting round ligament pain, and I think that's just because everything was growing faster, quicker. Third baby kind of stretches everything out a little bit. I've had sciatica pain on my lower back with my other 2 pregnancies, but then this time it's just kind of more pronounced, and honestly a lot of it has to do with I'm bending, twisting, turning, lifting 40-pound and 30-pound toddlers all day, so I think that has a lot to do with it. Fourth question, did your relationship with your partner change this trimester? I want to say no, not really. Our life is just a little bit crazy right now with raising 2 kids and 2 very small kids, and then me being pregnant, so we definitely have to depend on one another a lot in this season, especially because we don't really have help from anybody else outside. Every single day we have to rely on each other, and we have to work as a team in order to really just survive. I would say more towards the end of the second trimester, I've really needed him a lot more. Oh, okay. The 5th question is, what is one thing you still can't stand the smell of? I've been having an aversion to taco meat like that we make at home. I just remember my husband would make this ground beef taco, which I really loved before being pregnant, but he used to make that all the time in my first trimester, and the smell of it to this day literally could still make me throw up, even though I haven't really been nauseous at all since the first trimester. Question number 6. Have you had any emotional breakdowns and what triggered them? I'm just gonna be honest, yeah, I have definitely had a lot of emotional breakdowns this pregnancy. I think it's just kind of hitting me like I'm gonna be outnumbered. I'm gonna need the grace of God to get by, because if I could do anything in my own strength, definitely now I can't. Like, I literally need the grace of God to get me through. It's been a process, okay? And we're working through it. We're working on it. Have felt just kind of a sense of overwhelm. I know I'm gonna have this baby and I know everything's gonna go well, but there's sometimes in my mind where 2 kids feels already like super stretching, and sometimes I'm like, how is it going to be possible for me to take care of 3? But I know that I know that I know, and one thing that I keep remembering and telling myself is that God gave me this child, and that when he gives the gift of a child, he's going to give me the grace of a child to raise them as well. When I just start to depend on myself, when I'm leaning away from God and leaning more towards myself and just thinking about how am I going to do everything by myself, because we really don't have much of a village or a system rather than me and my husband, it can get really overwhelming. But then I remember God gave me this promise, and he does not give things with no provision or with no grace to handle them. Question number 7. What has been your go-to outfit or style this trimester? Been loving athletic skirts and like an athletic built-in bra type of situation top, low-rise jeans that fit under the bump. There's another pair of jeans that I got from Gap that are like bright pink and that fit underneath the bump and still super cute. I have been very avoidant to wearing dresses, which is kind of surprising because I'm wearing one now. I feel like just in my last 2 pregnancies, the only thing I wore was dresses, so this time I was like, no thank you. I want to dress and feel like myself. Yeah, I would say definitely my go-to style has been something athletic, cute, functional, something that I'm able to work out in, and handle toddlers in, but then also feel cute going outside, maybe just for a walk or grocery shopping or whatever it may be. Question number 8 is, when did I feel the baby kick and how did it make me feel? Sometime after or around 16 weeks to 20 weeks is when I really started to feel the baby kick. I was happy, and like, when you feel the baby kick, you're just like, wow, like you're there, like it just becomes real. So I think at some points I would feel like reality would hit me, because I'm like, yeah, there's a baby in there. Like, so I think I had a lot of different emotions, like happy, a little bit overwhelmed, obviously excited. The reality really set in once I started feeling more of the kicks around that time period. Question number 9 says, any moments you felt super confident in your pregnant body? I will say this whole pregnancy I have felt super confident in my pregnant body, and I think a lot of that has to do with me just being super active and continuing to go to the gym, continuing to do weightlifting, continuing to make it a priority to take care of my body. So honestly, I felt super confident the entire 7.5 months. I've never felt better in a pregnancy, but it definitely comes at a sacrifice, because I've spent a lot of time in the gym making myself feel better. Question number 10 is, are you still sleeping okay or no? And I will say, starting at around 16 weeks, I was waking up quite a bit, maybe 1 to use the bathroom, or 2 just for like pregnancy, quote unquote, insomnia. I don't really want to call it that, but it is common, like with the hormonal changes, to wake up in the middle of the night and kind of have a harder time falling back asleep, or maybe it's never really been an issue like falling asleep at night, because I've just always been so exhausted from the day before. I will say, like, there is at least once or twice a night ever since 16 weeks that I started waking up during the night to wake up to use the restroom or just to be up for a little bit. So question number 11 is, what is something that you regret doing or not doing this trimester? Wish I started nesting sooner, because last week me and my husband painted like 2 pieces of furniture, and I didn't realize how hard that was on my body. So I wish I would have started that around 20 weeks and just completely knocked that out of the park. Question number 12 is, have you had any pregnancy superpowers, crazy dreams, intuitions, or nesting? I always get a little bit of weird dreams during pregnancy. I think it just has a lot to do with hormonal changes. And I've talked to a few of my friends too, because sometimes I would be like, what is going on with my dream life and world right now? I really do think that it has a lot to do with just emotions and life changes and hormonal changes. So I would say I wouldn't like count it as a superpower, but I will say I've had a lot of weird dreams during pregnancy, and I've always had that with all 3 of my pregnancies, so it's not really something new. I think my pregnancy superpower is taking care of 2 toddlers a lot of the time by myself when my husband's at work, and being pregnant. We can all agree that's a superpower, right? Question number 13, what is the realest advice you'd give another mom about the 2nd trimester? Girl, the realest advice I can give is enjoy the 2nd trimester. Now that I'm entering into the 3rd trimester, there's a difference. There's a difference between the 2nd and the 3rd trimester. The 2nd, I didn't really feel like I needed to nap. I had a ton of energy, could get stuff done all the time, felt more like myself. And now that I'm in the 3rd trimester, I can attest and say that your girl needs a little bit of a nap. While yes, I'm still productive, it feels different because you're heavier, baby's kicking on your bladder more. And while yeah, that kind of starts towards the end of the 2nd trimester, if you're going to travel, I would suggest doing it during the 2nd trimester. If you're going to move, I would suggest doing it during the 2nd trimester. Honestly, anything that's going to really take a lot of energy, do it during the 2nd trimester. Question number 14 is, did you deal with mom guilt already? And if so, over what? Honestly, I don't really think I've had too much mom guilt, besides just the adjustment of being a mom to 3 now. Thinking like, how am I going to still give my toddlers the exact same attention? Or honestly, they'll probably need even more attention when the baby comes, because it's just gonna rock their world a little bit too and take them off by surprise. Not that it's necessarily mom guilt, because I never want to like shame myself or like put guilt upon myself, if that makes sense, and I don't think that we should do that as moms. I guess it would just be more of an adjustment. But this also happened when I had my first son already, and then I was pregnant with my 2nd. You think you can never love another baby, but then you have your baby and they just fit in your world so perfectly, and it's like your heart just grows another heart and you just love them the same and equally. So I know that's gonna happen. It's just an adjustment to get there, because honestly, this is a huge, I would say, if not major life transition, so it's honestly expected. Okay, question number 15. This is the last question, and it says, what are you most nervous or excited about heading into the 3rd trimester? I think the thing that scares me the most is that reality is hitting so fast, and I literally have 10 weeks left, give or take. I'm excited to do maternity pictures as a family. I'm excited for my bump. To get bigger, but at the same time a little bit nervous about that, because even now when my toddlers sit on my lap, for me to put their shoes on or something like that, it's pretty uncomfortable. But yeah, that is about it. That is my little 2nd trimester recap. If you guys have any questions, comments, concerns, go ahead and leave them down in the comments below. I love hearing from you guys. I love speaking with you guys and seeing your sweet little comments. See you guys on the next video. Love you guys. Bye.